Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Another Sunday, another week. Another Zatsudan / side pocket stream. Yeah. Hey there, hi there, Hyde here with another Zatsu side pocket. Can you believe it? We're all the way on number 18 now. I know, it is such a strange thing to think that this is the 18th installment of this series. I can't even remember how to play this game. I've been playing a couple other games offline, right? Well, I say offline, but yeah. Is it offline if they're on the Nintendo Switch online? I don't really know. Maybe not. Maybe technically they are all online. Tell you something that I was thinking about, right? My boy! Rope, bombs, rope oil. Can I interest you in any rope oil, Pafu? It seems like something you might be interested in. Yeah? Or is it just, latex masks? I won't judge, you know? I don't really judge. That's not my thing. Good to see you, Pafu. Thanks for stopping in. I really enjoyed the CDI Zeldas, right? Like, I didn't play them, but I enjoyed watching them. Yes? Okay, if you want rope oil, I can sell you rope oil for 3 easy payments of $3.99, and then 1 very difficult payment of all of your life savings. Made payable to Hyde Incorporated, if you would. That'd be great. Fantastic, in fact. Yeah. Yeah, it's not unusual that I'm streaming on a Sunday, but this might be the first time that I've actually posted on Twitter. Oh, Lila, hi. I'm doing fine. Rope oil is a meme, Lila. It comes from the Zelda CDI games, and if you don't know what the CDI was, it was a sort of precursor to the N64, I think. Came out after the Super Famicom, or SNES, which is what this console is, and it used discs and television. Through the magic of television, they would make a game appear, and you could play it. It's notable for having the first voice acting in any Zelda game, yeah, and boy is it fantastic, as are the animations. Don't like the latex? Oh, I see. Pantyhose. You like the mesh. Fair enough. Well, here's the thing. Pantyhose tend to be made of polyester, right? Yeah, the same material as spandex, basically. And that's all pretty much the same stuff, right? Sure, polyester is made from petroleum and latex is made from natural rubber most of the time, but you can make the same chains from just about any carbon source. Yeah, if you have debt and you want to pay me in debt, I don't think that's gonna work out too well. I might be able to inherit your debt, but I'd increase the interest rates to exorbitant amounts, yeah. So if you want to give me lots of extra money, that might work better. Yes, usury. Fantastic, right? Soft? Spandex? Yeah. I own a few spandex things. They're not what you're thinking. They're just like t-shirts that have spandex in them. They're very comfortable. Surprisingly comfortable, in fact. Right? I think the stretchiness of the fibers is very form-fitting. And it's very comfortable in that sense. as we all know, Hyde does not like to be uncovered. That's why I wear so many layers of clothing, right? Yes. So the tighter the fit, the better. Very much so. Yeah. As I was saying earlier, I realize that I have not been very active on Twitter as of late. I've just been very busy. Like, next month will be my 1 year anniversary on YouTube here as a streamer. Technically, this month would be my 1 year anniversary for content production, as far as Hyde content goes. But for the first time that I ever streamed with a PNG model was all the way back in August of last year, August 3rd. So I've been preparing a little something for that. The anniversary is coming up, and we'll do something a little bit different. Yeah. It is, isn't it, Lila? It's very tiring. Like, when I first started as a PNGtuber, I didn't realize how necessary, like, keeping up with social media was, and how draining that would be. It's one of those little, like, you don't foresee it. You don't factor it in at first. You think, okay, I'm just going to get a PNG, I'll get a microphone, and I'll stream. What more could you need? It's not so simple. And I quickly realized that. But I try, or I did try, to keep up for the longest time. And I just got too busy as of late. I am trying to, as I said, work on anniversary stuff. Like, I didn't mention it. But I hit 300 subscribers. That's more than I ever thought that I would. To be fair, I thought that I would be streaming for a month, and I would decide, this isn't for me. That tends to be the case with hobbies, right? Sometimes you get into them, and you're like, okay, I regret getting into this hobby immediately. Surprisingly, that was not the case with me and content creation. Yeah. Although I have changed my focus to primarily video content as opposed to streams, which I guess is how I started out. Like, I did start out as primarily a video content account. I'm glad I kept going too. Thank you, Lila. Thank you, Pafu. I see that Pafu also hit a big number. I don't really have to say it, but shout out to Pafu for hitting the big 500. The big one. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes. I'm very happy with how far I've gotten. It's been a slog here or there. There have been times where I feel like the YouTube algorithm just hates me. I think it would be nice if YouTube had clearer, I don't know, more transparency about the changes to their algorithms. Because you feel like you get a good grasp on it 1 week, and then the next week you're just immediately like, okay, I did the exact same things, and now I'm getting different results. It's very hard to figure out what they want. You're welcome, Pafu. You're very welcome. Yeah. It's, I guess it is a period of reflection for a lot of people. Like, when I first started out, a little bit under a year ago now, there were others joining in the same crowd. And I guess you joined a little bit before I did. Yeah. And, it's interesting to see who's stuck around, how people have grown, how things have shaken out. Ah, yes. The YouTube algorithm as of late has been especially cruel on shorts. I don't know if it's a dip on everything, on everyone. I think I got a slight increase on video content, long-form video content. The last 2 long-form video content pieces that I put out were Backscreen, a horror indie game. I think that video was like 4 minutes long. but it got about 100 views, which is surprisingly more than I usually get. Yeah. Then I just recently put out a cat-based horror indie game. Very cute. Very cute. Both from itch.io. I do like the indie content here on the Hyde channel. It's very interesting to see the visions of indie developers. And one of the nice things is the indie devs often come to my channel and leave comments saying this or that about their game or my gameplay. So there is a little bit more back and forth. You get a little bit more information than you otherwise would, right? If you were just playing AAA games. Personally, I don't know if I could really play AAA games on my channel for a variety of reasons. Well, reach out is a way of saying it. One of the things I like to do is when I play an itch game, I will leave a comment under the itch game on itch. Because that's usually where those game devs are going to be at. And usually I do get a response there as well. I figure if you're going to play a game, and especially if a small developer might not have any comments on their game, even if you don't have the nicest things to say about their game, they're going to be happy to get feedback. Or if you enjoyed their game a lot, they're going to be especially happy to see how you interact with their game, right? Yeah, how you experience their game. I think that's probably why they share it. So I do try nowadays to leave comments and share my gameplay for them, with them. Yeah. And in return, they often share little tidbits about the comments that I leave them. Like, one told me the inspiration for... One told me the inspiration for a story they used in their gameplay. And I thought that was pretty interesting. It's nice to see not only the experience as they give it to you, but also the inspiration for the experiences. Yeah, it is very cute that the indie devs engage with you like that. I think being a small content creator myself, I can kind of empathize with that a little bit. Like, that experience resonates with me. That I can understand where they're coming from. It's just nice to have views, right? It's nice that someone's engaging with your content. Sanitarium. I've heard of Sanitarium. I have not looked into it. I can tell you that I have plans for a certain game coming up, and that would be the 1-year anniversary stream. I'm gonna be playing a game unlike usual. It's not gonna be a pure Zatsu. I know a lot of people really enjoy my Zatsu content, for whatever reason. Maybe the cadence of my voice, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just how monotonous the voice can be. It's great background, right? When I first started out, I thought that I would be a Northern Lion type. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Northern Lion, but he was really big into The Binding of Isaac and other roguelikes. And I started out with a roguelike as pretty much 90% of my content on this channel. It was Backpack Hero, and now the game is so different from what I played that I just can't play it anymore. Everything I liked about it while it was in development is still there for the most part, but it does feel like a completely different game. Anyway, Northern Lion is background content. He is just happy you spend time watching his videos, and if you have it in the background or you're trying to fall asleep to it, like I used to do, he seems pretty happy about that as well. Voice is very soothing. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't really been yapping about interesting stuff as of late. Like, The more... It's an interesting paradox, right? I like engagement, and that's what these streams are all about. I am mostly a video maker, right? I'm not mostly a streamer. As far as streaming goes, I have one stream per week. That is the general rule. And I make videos for the rest of it. Whether they be shorts or long form video, they are videos most of the week. And I get to talk about just about anything I want. And when I stream, like, don't get me wrong, I don't mean this as a bad thing. It's just like sometimes I feel like I end up tangenting and not saying anything interesting, right? Like, obviously people who get me on a tangent want me to talk about certain things, and I'm fine with that. That's what the stream's for. It's here so that people who want to interact with me can interact with me. Live. That's right. Thank you, Pafu. Thank you for both saying that my voice is, nice. I've worked very hard on this voice, you know? Is it strange to say that? But it's true. I've suffered from a speech impediment my whole life, and I had speech lessons for I don't know how many years. I know they used to have to ply me into going to my speech lessons with prizes, things like stickers and coloring books and paint sets. You know, like kids' watercolor paint sets, things like that. And I'm kind of glad they did, because for a while there, before I really got back into the swing of things, my voice was just awful. If you go back to my first stream on August 3rd, 2023, you will see how bad my voice used to be. It is something you can work on. I know a lot of people think your voice is what it is. That's not true. You can absolutely work on your voice. There are different vocal exercises, and there are different ways of preparing your voice. It's true. Thank you, Lila. I will try not to worry about it. I just, you know, one of those irrational fears that you sometimes have when you're making content is this content good enough? There's a lot of Hyde content that I just deem not good enough, and it sticks around in a backlog folder, so that whenever I get sick and I can't record with a decent voice, I can always go back to it and say, you know what, it might not have been good enough when I was perfectly healthy and able to speak perfectly clearly, but now that I'm sick and my voice sounds like trash, it's good enough now. Yeah. Hi Storm, nice to see you. Yeah. Storm, you continue to put out good content. I saw you debuted, as a matter of fact. Yeah. I don't know if that was last week or this week. Time loses meaning to me. Everything seems to run together these days. Ah, you like the different voices. Thank you, Pafu. I do think that there is a certain element of branding to the voices that you put on for a character, right? Like, I have so many different models. Well, I have the same model, but I have alternate outfits. And I feel like every alternate outfit ought to have a different voice. Otherwise, you're missing out on branding, right? Like, I realize that this is a bit strange compared to other VTubers and PNGtubers. Like, most PNGtubers or VTubers have expressions. I don't have expressions. I have alternate outfits, and thus alternate personas. And they kind of have their own characteristics, but for expressions, they're all pretty much the same. Yeah. There's really no difference. Time is not real. You're right, it's all relative. Higher power cult leader. Ah, the id content. Well, let's talk about the id content a little bit. Okay. So I got a comment somewhere asking about more id content, and I am working on it. I have a rough draft for an outline for the next id stream. I guess we're gonna do another id stream. It's gonna take a while. That's the problem. I'm still not entirely happy with the voice of id. I think it needs work. I think when I first debuted id, I was just tired of waiting around on id for so long, right? Sometimes, like when I was in college, one of my professors told me, sometimes it's not about being perfect, it's about being better than the rest, essentially, or being good enough. And I think id was good enough at the point that I debuted him, but I'm not entirely happy with what id is yet. He still needs some work, some time in the oven, as it were. So the next id stream is going to be a while from now, but it is in the works, as is the next BFE video. Yeah, I know everybody's excited for the Hyde BFE videos. It's interesting. I did a father sort of BFE thing, a father experience, and it didn't take me any time at all. But that's because I was reading a book for 90% of it. I didn't have to write anything. Yeah, I appreciate that, Storm, that you think my streams are good. I started out as wanting to be a streamer, and I realized pretty quickly streaming was not entirely my strong suit. Ah, yes, yes. The Valley Girl accent, Pafu, yes. I've heard that, yes. I think it helps to emphasize a point, to make different voices. Cooking it, yes. It needs to be cooked. What professor? He was a professor in one of my geology courses. He was also an advisor, as it were. So those who don't know, I have a degree in geology. I use that a lot these days. Sure. Sure you do, Hyde. Yes. I don't. It's a need. I don't know if it's a need, but it's definitely something that you should think about, probably, as a content creator. Something that I should think about, yeah. As for cooking it, it's really his voice that I don't like. I thought that Southern was good. I could definitely do a Texan accent for a while, and that's why I settled on that. I figured if I was going to do a stream for an hour, I had to make a voice that I could actually perform for an hour. Makes sense, right? And I could do the Southern Texas accent for an hour, but I don't think that that's really what I want from id. I think the short that I more recently put out, with the more Southern Baptist Hellfire Preacher kind of accent or dialect, was probably a better fit for it as a character. But if I did that for an hour, my voice would just be toast. Like, I recorded 3 videos the same day that I did that short. I haven't put the other 2 out yet. They're gonna come out once I get some editing through there. Yeah, those are going to be more edited shorts. But all in all, it was about 10 minutes of content, and I ruined my voice for a day or 2. I just could not speak properly. And I realized I would not be able to make content if I did that voice for id. So that's not gonna work either. Yeah. We gotta think sustainability, right? Like, voice is unfortunately a limited resource here. You don't think about it, but your voice is really your #1 resource in PNG tubing or VTubing. Well, Storm, you did something a little bit different, so maybe that's less of a concern for you. And I don't really, like, I don't want to say it's necessary, because it's obviously not. But if you are using your own voice, then yeah, you gotta think sustainably. Otherwise, like, I would be out of commission for days on end. Not just in my VTubing or PNG tubing, but also in my real world. Like, I have to work every day. And part of that requires my voice. If I can't speak, I'm gonna have a bad time working, not just PNG tubing. Ah, yes, thank you, Lila. Did I drink enough water? No. No, I do not drink water most of the time when recording. uh, I, I, mm, I need to schedule out, like, water breaks. One of the nice things about Twitch is that you can put redeems for hydration. And here on YouTube, there isn't like a redeem that I can set up. It's your real voice? Oh. Oh. You have a lovely voice, Storm. Yes. I guess people spoke differently before the flood, right? Drink water. Drink water. Oh. Oh. Like, here's the thing, like, I have to, schedule out my meals because I just don't feel hungry throughout the day. Same with water. Like sometimes I have to schedule out my water breaks throughout the day because I just don't feel thirsty. I don't know what that is. Just a quirk of my body. But I'll drink something just for you. I got my little juice box here. Fruit punch today. Very nice. A little bit sour. Very acidic. I do try to take care of myself. And, yeah. I've been doing that for years and years now, just scheduling out meal times. Like, my whole day is pretty structured. I wake up and I have coffee, I feed my sourdough. My sourdough is adorable, by the way. I love the little thing. I feed it every day. Like, most people don't feed their sourdoughs every day. They'll put them in the fridge and they'll feed them once a week. I don't do that. I like feeding mine every day. It's a nice little ritual, and it sort of helps me wake up while I'm having my coffee or making my coffee. It's very nice. Sour maxing? Yeah. Here's a fun fact. Sour is my favorite flavor, and if you pair it with sweet, sour and sweet is my favorite combination. So things like lemons. There is a video on my channel of me biting into a lemon. I ate the lemon. And I actually do that in real life. I don't do it so aggressively in real life. I did play it up a little bit. Like, I don't really understand why people have the expressions of extreme sourness, like the puckered faces when they bite into a lemon. I don't get that. I always thought that they were playing it up because I actually bite into a lemon like it's an apple. The only problem, of course, is the seeds of a lemon when you do it like that. Yeah. But yeah, that is something that I typically would do. Just normally. It's not insanity. It's not insanity. Some people have extreme tolerances for spice, right? Like really spicy foods, they can eat them no problem. Other people, they can't handle any capsaicin. Any at all, and they're sweating. For me, it's not spice that I'm extremely tolerant of, it's more sourness that I'm tolerant of. I won't say extremely, because there are probably people who can tolerate sourness a lot better than I can, but I do love sour foods. I just like fermented foods in general, and fermented foods tend to be sour. Things like sauerkraut, sourdough, lacto-fermented vegetables of all kinds. For people who don't know, I also brew my own wines, right? Like, I'm a very avid home brewer. Today, I racked a coffee wine into secondary fermentation. So, what that means is I've had a coffee-based wine. I've just added sugar to coffee and threw yeast in there. I had that in a plastic bucket, and that was about a week ago that I started that. And today, I used a siphon to get it off of the disgusting dregs, the lees on the bottom of the bucket, and into glass carboys. So, yeah. I did take a little sample of that a little bit before stream. Like, I am completely sober now, but that stuff hits hard. Do not recommend mixing caffeine and alcohol. That is a Four Loko situation, and there is a reason why the FDA says that's bad for you. Yes, coffee wine. What? What? Yeah, now I'm sober. Mostly. um, I haven't had a drink for weeks, it feels like, right? Like, I've been extremely conscious of alcohol consumption as of late, especially since I ruined my voice, and I realized that alcohol would not be great for the voice, right? But I used to have a glass of wine per day, not because of any heart like benefits. If you look into it, the FDA actually says nowadays that there are no known benefits to drinking. But back when I was growing up, back when I was young, so very long ago, uh, the FDA used to say a glass of red wine is good for the heart. Nowadays, they say no matter what the benefits of the antioxidants in the wine and the whatever else is in there that's beneficial, the alcohol itself is more harmful. uh, Maury Calliope could never what? I don't know what you're talking about, Storm. I haven't actually watched any Hololive in quite a bit. Like, I'll be honest here. My first Hololive Oshi was Kiara. I got into Myth. Yeah, I got into Myth right as they were debuting. Oh, yeah, okay. She's a wine drinker. Yeah, Mori seems to like her alcohol, and I can't really fault her for that. I do enjoy alcohol as well. Coffee wine seems bitter. Surprisingly not. There is something strange in the way coffee wine works that makes even, I'm strange myself. I don't think coffee tastes bitter in general. I think coffee tastes sweet. Maybe I'm strange. Yeah, I think coffee tastes sweet, like black coffee. It tastes sweet, and water tastes extremely sweet. Those are the only two things that I really drink, though, other than juice when I'm streaming. Grandfather? Yeah. Well, back in his day, Lila, your grandfather was right. Everybody was saying that it was good for the heart. And I think there is a little bit of truth to that, whether the medical science backs it up or not. Like, I think stress is probably the worst thing for a heart, and alcohol is really great at reducing stress. So even if the chemical components aren't good for you, that was a bad shot. The effects of the alcohol itself are probably good for you. Yeah. Like, I've seen so many documentaries about 118-year-old people saying, yeah, I smoke cigars every day and have a glass of whiskey for breakfast. I have to imagine that that is because of the lack of stress in their life that allows them to do that. Yeah. Oh, no, it's fine. I don't mind talking about, other VTubers. That's part of it too, right? Like, I used to be very big into Hololive. If you look at my, Twitter account, one of my most famous tweets, or really the only tweet that ever got any recognition, is when I baked a sauna light, and Sauna retweeted it. Yeah, that was a big deal for me. Sauna was my second Oshi in Hololive. Yeah. And, yeah. Right before she was leaving, I baked a sauna light. I baked two, actually. But she noticed one of them. And it felt good to be noticed by Senpai, you know? My Oshi is Sauna, though? Yeah, that's right, Lila, that's right. It used to be Kiara. Oh, 07? Thank you. You remember that? Oh, wow. Wow. This is like ancient history. Way before I became a PNGtuber. Way before I started making content. Although, I actually submitted, a song entry for Maury's... What was it? tabletop RPG campaign that she did with the other Myth Girls. I submitted a song for that, but I don't think she actually used any of them that were submitted. She used something completely different. What am I? Well, thank you. Thank you. I gotta say, I never expected to be anyone's Oshi when I started out. To be completely honest, I expected to be streaming into the void forever and just rambling, right? Like, when I started, I didn't actually expect that anyone would watch me. I thought for sure that I would just be talking to myself, and I could use this as an excuse to play video games whenever I wanted, and I wouldn't feel bad about spending 3 hours playing Backpack Hero, and I could work on the speech impediment thing that was causing me so much so many problems that, you know, even I recognized it as a problem at that point. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for calling me a great streamer. Technically, we're all the void, right? Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that. One of my videos was BFE about the Abyss, and I do feel like everybody is connected in that we all share the same abyss at the heart of us. The human existential, like, dread that we all feel. Like, it's the same. I think that's the human unifier. Ah, you are the void too. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed that, Lila. I think it was an interesting take on BFE. I'm glad someone enjoyed it. I do realize that it's not really what most people go into BFE for. Lila, I know you in particular enjoy BFE. So I do realize that I might have, I don't know, created something a little bit different from what could be expected from the standards of the genre. Oh, I'm so glad it's useful to you. When I first started out, like I was saying, I wanted to be a background voice, a background noise generation machine. And I know a lot of people fall asleep to white noise or whatever else. I wanted to be that. And I wanted to help people fall asleep or stay asleep or whatever else. Just not to think about anything that's weighing on their minds at the time. So that BFE was very much in line with my original kind of content goals as a creator. And I want to get back into doing some more of that. I do have a couple ideas. They are in the very rough stages. I do want to make more BFE, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't actually come to my channel for BFE, but I find it some of the most helpful content, for me personally, to work on my voice. You have to be very controlled in your voice. I'm glad it was soothing. Yeah, I I'm glad it's soothing. If nothing else, that's what I wanted. I wanted something soothing. I wanted something distracting. To be perfectly blunt, I think a lot of the times you really can't get rid of the problems you're facing. And I know people say face them head on, but that gets tiring after a while, right? Like, what if you have a lifelong condition and you have to face it every single day in order to just feel normal? You would get tired. I would get tired of that every single day. So I've always seen my content as a sort of distraction for those kind of chronic problems that we all have and can't get rid of. Yeah, if I could be a distraction for that kind of thing, that's exactly what I want to be. Yeah, the father BFE, I thought, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I thought that there are probably a lot of people out there, as unfortunate as it is, who would like a loving father experience, right? Some people just didn't have that growing up naturally. I was very blessed with my father. My father, Hyde Sr., is a very good man, and I think he raised me to the best of his ability with love, attention, care, and kindness in some senses, and strictness in others. But I'm very blessed with my father, and I realize that not everyone is. So I really wanted to create something that would be okay as an ersatz of sorts, a substitute for something that some people just didn't have. Yeah. it was one of my sadder inspirations, but I'm happy I made it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not money grabbing, Storm. The only money grabber here is id, and there's no way to actually give him money, so it's fine, so long as you can never actually give it money. Yeah, yeah. I think BFE has a lot of potential that just isn't used. It doesn't all have to be sexual, it doesn't all have to be romantic, it doesn't all have to be, you know... some of it can just be human connection, right? Like, there are a lot of people who probably just want human connection and warmth. And I'm not against giving people human connection and warmth, so long as it's within the confines of, you know, the kind of wholesome content that I usually produce. I don't mind making public content like that. An alternate space? Yeah, I do like to think of, reality as malleable, right? We can make our own realities. Oh, I missed. We can make our own realities and shape whatever we have if we can't make them, right? Like, even if you're giving something that has shape, you can alter that shape in some way. So you're not so you do have options, essentially. You're not locked away from changing things as you see fit entirely. Like, free will doesn't mean that you can do anything you want. That would be free action. Free action would be like sprouting wings from your back and flying away. You can't do that. But that doesn't mean you don't have free will. You can make an airplane and fly if you want to fly. That's free will, not free action. Oh, yeah. I'm very happy with my relationship with my parents. I do think I had good parents, and I realize that not everyone does. uh, so I understand how that could be an area where people would want content, right? Again, there's a lot of potential for this kind of ersatz or simulation or whatever. Fantasy is all about giving people something they can't experience or didn't experience, right? And I'm no stranger to fantasy, so I'm not really... I don't feel weird pretending to be a father or anything. Like, I'm not a father, if it makes a difference. I don't really... I guess it does, because it's a little bit less authentic. If I were a real father, maybe I could make better father experiences. But I did the best I could. Like, I based it off of my interactions with nieces. Just mailed your $3.99. Well, you got 2 more payments, Bafu. And then the really hard one of all of your life debt. Listen to this one, Menhera BFE. Oh, yeah. That's an interesting thought too, Storm. Like, content creators, if you like a content creator, eventually, like, they might stop. And I don't know how I would feel about that. Like, I remember when Sana was quitting, and I just felt awful. I thought, okay, well, I'm done with VTubers now. My Oshi is gone. What more can I do? And then I found the indie scene, and I essentially joined them. I am sorry that your favorite BFE Chuba or BFE content creator, one of your favorites. What words would you use exactly? One. Okay. So one of the ones you listen to, if not your favorite. I gotta be very clear, very concise with my words. I'm sorry that the series ended. It's always a sad thing to see the end of an era of content creation. I've seen it so many times, just because I'm so old. Like, I used to be really big into Two Best Friends Play, and Matt and Pat, they had their falling out, and that kind of broke me for a while on content on YouTube. Thank you, Pafu. Have a good night. Thank you for joining. Thank you for showing up. It's very nice to see you. Sorry if I got to that a little bit late. Yeah, it's always better. Here's the thing. I know I sound really insane saying it, but I think people ought to be more selfish than they are. People need to look out for themselves. The only way that you can make content is if you yourself are okay to make content. So, in all things, I think people need to be a little bit more selfish. And I think people stigmatize selfishness entirely too much in the modern era. It's entirely necessary to be selfish in some cases, because no one else is going to look out for you in most cases, right? Let him cook. Yeah. One of the earliest voiced contents on my channel is a TF2 video. I used to play a lot of TF2, and I thought I would do that on my channel a lot more than I have. But I haven't. One of the things I said was that people need to be more selfish. They need to work less. And I think that's true, because work really is one of the things that is so stressful in our lives. So if we can limit that amount of stress, we work a little bit less hard, and we take care of ourselves a little bit better, I think in the long term, we will have better results, right? Like, even if you look at efficiency studies or productivity studies, I think those still share the same results. Mental loads, for example. People have an attention span somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes. 15 minutes on a task they find completely boring, and 30 minutes maximum. Well, okay, there are outliers, of course, and you can train it, but roughly on average, 30 minutes on a task they actually enjoy. After that 30 minutes of work, even on a task they enjoy, they will start to become less productive. So, breaks every 30 minutes are very helpful. They actually make you more productive, which is something that a lot of people don't seem to realize. And I take that very personally. I try to apply that in my real life as much as possible. I try to take breaks in my real work. I'm a smoker. I'll throw that out there. I smoke pipe tobacco and cigars. Never cigarettes. I do not like the smell of cigarettes. I grew up in a family that smoked cigarettes. Everybody in my family smoked cigarettes. And this might be doxing my age a little bit, but when I grew up, you only had to be 18 to smoke cigarettes or tobacco. So, when I was 18, I started smoking as well. And what can I say? It's addictive. And I ended up addicted. But on the bright side, I do get to have breaks that other people would get frowned at for having a break, right? Yeah. Other people, if they take a break every 15 minutes, they will get frowned at, even though, that might be the most productive thing for them. Personally, I think workers ought to have breaks every 30 minutes. No exceptions. It doesn't have to be long either. Like, it can be as little as a 5-minute break every now and then. Right? And that's enough to de-stress the mental load, that you don't have to worry about it too much to have any more, you know, worries, right? I'm sure we've all experienced it, like the brain drain after a very long slog through something, right? Say you're working on a paper for school, or you're doing a report for some kind of, I don't know. Say you're doing taxes for a company thing, right? Yeah. After a while, you start to lose focus, your brain gets heavy, and it's just not working. I've been there so many times, and I've realized over the years, taking a break is the right option. I don't know how we got here. I was talking about the 1 year thing, right? So yeah, I'll talk about the 1 year thing. August 3rd, we will be doing something special. Sometime around August 3rd. I only do one stream a week, so it might not be August 3rd exactly, but we will be doing something special for the 1 year celebration. It will be a special kind of gameplay video, one that I do not typically do. I typically do these Zatsus over this game because this game I can play while reading chat. I always found it very, what's the right word? Not ideal. It's 2 words, but let's go with it. I found it very ideal that people would do Zatsudans while playing games, and the way I see it, you're splitting your focus, right? Either you're not playing the game to peak efficiency, or you're not talking to peak efficiency, right? And I don't like either of those. But with a game like this, it's mindless. I can just make an angle and hit the ball. The game that I am envisioning playing for my 1 year anniversary is very different. It's going to be an actual game. There's probably going to be a lot of reading, so there might be less chatting and chat interaction than usual. And I will apologize in advance for that, because I know that the appeal of a Zatsudan stream, or any stream in general, is that you can interact with the streamer live, right? That's why I enjoy live streams. I don't know if that's why everybody enjoys them, but I have to think that's probably a big reason. That's why I stream in the first place, to allow anyone who wants to talk with me to talk with me. Otherwise, I'd just be making videos all week, you know? I would probably put out an extra video a week, and that'd be that. Chat, we are getting Hyde League of Legends. Oh, you are not getting GTA 6. Not with my potato graphics. No, no, no. Eventually I will update my graphics, my computer, all of that. Eventually. But I actually think the limitations help me to make better content. I know that sounds strange, but necessity is the mother of all creation. So, the worse my setup is, I feel the better my content will be. Yeah. If I didn't start out with an absolutely garbage potato PC, I think I would be making much worse content than I am. That's very strange to say, but it's true. Yeah, chatting while gaming is hard, Lila. And I gotta say, like, I could not do it as well as some people, including yourself, do it. I cannot. I recognized my weaknesses and my talents, and I'm working on them slowly. But I'm not there yet. It's still a learning curve for me. Yeah. Yes, unedited and raw reactions. That's another reason to like live streams, right? I guess it's true that some videos are overproduced or scripted in a sense. They don't really show you... Like, when I put out a video, I try to give the first reactions. I don't really enjoy doing multiple takes, so I will try to give my first reactions with my videos, so I can really see the appeal of that kind of content, Storm. League, no, no. um, I, I, I'm not very good at games. I really have to tell you that. I'm not great at games. I know it sounds very strange for a streamer to say they're not good at games, but it's true. I'm terrible at games. No, my heart is broken. I'm sorry, Lila. Maybe someday. Uh, Probably never, but maybe someday. I just don't think it's my strong suit. I think everybody has strengths and weaknesses, right? Less than 3, thank you. A broken heart. Yes. Rage quit gremlin? Ooh, ooh. No, no. You want to see, Salty Hyde? Just look up Gerald Smith's Balloon Popper on my channel. That's where you'll find Salty Hyde. It doesn't get any saltier than that. You're not missing anything else. No. That game broke me. I actually recorded that a couple more times, and I could not include the videos. It was that bad. Rage quit gremlin moments. I don't even have those when I'm playing, like, team-based games. The only game that I'm any good at, or used to be any good at, was TF2. So, maybe you'll get a TF2 stream someday, if I ever update my computer so that I can run my PNGtuber software and stream TF2. It's very strange. My PNGtuber software does not like other instances of Unity, so I can't even play Unity games often, yeah. That's probably just me with my potato specs, right? Salty Hyde is not best tied, Lila. There's nothing great about Salty Hyde. No, no, no. Normal Hyde's best, right? You know, that reminds me. When I first made Jekyll, I thought that everybody liked Jekyll more than they liked Hyde, and I still think that. Hold on. It's true. Everybody does like me more than they like you, Hyde. I'm much more entertaining, and much more energetic, and I say things that you never would. Yeah. So yeah. I do think that normal Hyde gets put on the wayside way too often, right? Like, I get that there is a familiarity bias, so the most familiar Hyde is probably the least valuable. It's a scarcity commodity thing, right? It's just like gold. Gold would not be valuable if there weren't so little of it. Yeah, yeah. Procrastinate less. I don't know about that. Procrastinate less. I don't know. I can tell you it makes me more creative, because, I've had videos where I've had frame drops, and I've had to think about ways of presenting that more creatively, so that the frame drop is stylistic instead of, you know, just bad. I don't know if I've succeeded in that, but I've thought of different ways of doing it, should it ever happen again. Now, as for you liking Hyde over Jekyll, I do appreciate that. That seems to be a rarity. That is not the general consensus. The general consensus does seem to be, as far as YouTube algorithms go, Hyde gets fewer views than Jekyll. Might just be because Jekyll says insane things from time to time, and Hyde seems to be, you know, relatively normal. Yeah, it's just because Jekyll is less me. I don't know about that either. Yeah, okay. I think Jekyll is every bit a part of me as Hyde is. I have to be very, very clear about this. Hyde is Hyde to a certain extent. I am Hyde. just as much as I am Jekyll. They're exaggerations, and Jekyll is more of an exaggeration. That's about how I would phrase it, right? Jekyll is an exaggeration of some of my stranger thoughts with fewer filters. Hyde is an exaggeration in the sense that he has more filters in a lot of ways, right? Yeah. Hyde is slightly more filtered than I am as a real person behind the PNG. Yeah. Hyde has to present content that YouTube will allow him to present. So he has to filter his thoughts a little. And Jekyll is kind of the release valve for that kind of thing. He takes it the entirely different direction, and he just floors it. He goes as far as he can with it. And that seems to put Hyde in a slightly better position. I'm not trying to spook you, I don't know. I do think Jekyll is me. I think Id's me too. Other than the voice. I'm all of them. Yeah. Like, I could not make a character that was not me to some extent. It would not seem real, right? It wouldn't seem authentic. I'm not actually, like, digging up corpses. But that is part of my humor, right? So when Jekyll makes a comment about digging up corpses, yeah, that's part of me. That's, I have to own it. Right? Like, that's still me. I'm responsible for that. I said it. I'm not gonna say... Oh, I think if I said, oh, that's not me, that's just a character, I would be falling into the same trap that the actual Jekyll did in the book, in the story, right? In assuming that he wasn't Hyde. The truth was that Jekyll was always Hyde. And Hyde was always Jekyll, in the same way. They're really the same person. It's just what they show the world, right? Yeah. So, I guess that's fitting, that I made a Jekyll character as my Hyde. I am many. Yes, I am Legion. I think we all are. There's a famous postmodernist saying, I am not what I am, I'm what I could be. Right? I think they used it in a slightly different context. And, I'm pretty sure that I can't remember who said it. Some postmodernist said it, probably a Frenchman. But I am not what I am, I'm what I could be. Humans are all about potential, right? And I do think that humans are always in flux. We're always changing, and there's always an aspect of us that we just don't really focus on immediately. Like, people repress things, people consciously choose not to do others. And that's part of who you are too. The things you don't do, the things you could be, the things that you aren't. I hope that makes sense. I am a bit of a postmodernist in the sense that I am a nihilist who is very optimistic that we can create our own meaning and identities in a sense. This is a topic that I really want to talk about with id. I want to do a sermon on the self, the sense of self, and identity. That's probably going to be the next topic, in fact, for a sermon. But I'm not there yet. I could talk about that for hours, but I'm gonna save it. Just give you a little teaser for it, right? Oh. Just a little teaser so you know what's coming up. But I love that topic. What makes the self different from identity? What makes the identity different from the sense of self? Because I don't really think that there is such a thing as a self-identity. It might be a little bit strange in the fact that I don't believe that we can ourselves create an identity for ourselves. But I'm sure it'll make more sense when I actually talk about it in more detail. Yeah. How did I get here? We are many. Right, postmodernism. I actually took philosophy courses in college. I almost accidentally minored in philosophy. As strange as it sounds. I didn't mean to. It just sort of happened, right? Like, I needed college credits to get my liberal arts degree, and it just so happened that I took a lot of philosophy courses because they were available at the right times. Yeah. It was completely accidentally. There weren't many courses open for certain times. I'll tell you how I scheduled my days in college, right? First and foremost, I picked courses necessary for my major. Yeah. So I picked geology courses that were necessary for me to graduate with a geology degree. Yeah, very necessary things. And then I would make sure that I had a lunch break somewhere in the middle of the day. Didn't have to be necessarily 12, but it helped. That was second most important thing, to have a lunch break. And to have it long enough that I could actually, like, have a smoke break after. Because when you're a smoker, you gotta smoke after you eat, right? And that really helped me de-stress after my morning classes. I didn't care if I had to wake up at 8 AM to have my first class. I often did. I often took those really early classes that everybody complained about, and I never had a problem with them. I would just have my smoke break after lunch. And I do really think that that's necessary. If you're scheduling college courses, make sure you get a lunch break in there. It breaks things up. Now, unfortunately, that did mean that I had to stay in classes until 5 PM some days, but it was worth it. And when I was scheduling classes, sometimes the only classes that were available to me were philosophy for certain time periods, which, you know, led to me accidentally almost minoring. I think I was 2 to 4 credits short of a minor, so not too far off. Hmm? Oh, really? Wow. That is very strange, Lila. You can only have 4 optional classes in a 3-year bachelor degree. Okay. First of all, I see one difference. My bachelor degree was 4-year program, right? So yeah, there's that. And it was specifically a liberal arts program. So it was necessary to have certain courses that were outside of my major. Like, it was literally necessary to have 2 courses in arts, in history, in culture, in natural sciences if you weren't in natural sciences, and social sciences, things like that. You had to have 2 courses in fine arts or whatever else. All those crazy things. And you wouldn't graduate if you didn't have that. And in some of those, you actually had to have higher level credits. So higher level courses that required a prerequisite in the same field. Yo, yeah. It does seem like there are a lot of college-educated people in this hobby these days, right? I don't think that's too strange. It is interesting, however, to hear how different the college experiences were. With a liberal arts program, like, it differed from a technical program. There are technical colleges here in the USA, which have shorter terms, and they focus entirely on your major. Hmm? Oh yeah. Your country, the courses have mostly fixed curriculums. There are standards in the USA. For accredited colleges, there are certain standards that you have to do this, this, and this. But the courses themselves can have different names so long as the content is covered. So for my major, there were certain set courses that we just had to take. Things like mineralogy and sedimentary structures, things like that. That you just had to take. And those are national standards for any accredited geology institution, right? So it's not like that. It's Well, I did have the opportunity to have a lot of electives. Thank you. Thank you, Storm. There's a nice little joke. I rock. Oh. The geology puns are endless, but I will spare you them. Little known fact about geologists, we do love puns. All of us. I will not tell you the mineral puns because, well, some of them are just not Hyde content. The pain is deep. Yes, as deep as a fault. I had a very interesting liberal arts education, though. I'll tell you that much, yeah. One of the courses I took... No, I really shouldn't tell you about... I will say that I took a lot of things outside of my area of expertise, and I don't know how helpful they were, but the goal of a liberal arts education is to make a more rounded education, right? They don't want people to just be technical experts, even though that would probably be more beneficial to their work, right? They don't want to raise workers, they want to raise thinkers. That's the goal. It's a nice goal, if nothing else. I don't know how well they achieve it, right? That's the thing. Yes. So yeah, I could have probably graduated from a technical institute in a shorter period of time without having to deal with quite as many, I don't know, unnecessary courses. Like fine arts. Why would I ever need to know how to do ceramic sculpture? I don't know. Did it make me a more rounded individual? Maybe. Ironically, probably not, because most of my ceramic sculptures involved, trilobites, in fact. Yes, fossilized creatures. That tended to be what I sculpted. So, no. No, I really didn't escape geology whenever possible. Fun fact, I kept everything to science so much that people were complaining that I had found loopholes for not studying outside of my, area of major. Yeah. Well, if you think about it, I didn't just merge geology with art. Any kind of ceramic endeavor is a merging of art and geology, because it's clay. Clay is a mineral. Actually, clays are a class of minerals. Phyllosilicates include all of the clays. Yeah, there's things like montmorillonite, bentonite, and kaolinite. That'd be porcelain. Yeah, there are lots of different clay minerals in the phyllosilicate group. Yeah. You really do. Like, I don't regret having the courses I did. I met a lot of cool people, as Storm said there. I think geology probably had some of the chillest people I'd ever met. But it was interesting. The ceramics people weren't too strange either, you know? They were mostly laid back and just doing their thing. And... what was I saying before that? Right, people were complaining that I wasn't getting enough outside of my major, as it were. But it's not my fault. They offered courses in these things that were related to science, right? So for a social science credit, maybe it wasn't social science, maybe it was philosophy. I took something called the sociology of science, and I learned about the epistemology of science, and realism and anti-realism, postmodernism stuff. You know, basically how science works as a methodology, the logic behind it. And I really enjoyed that, because I realized immediately that I'd never thought of science that way before. I'd always thought of science as something that gives you answers to questions by doing a certain method. And it's really more complicated than that. What science does is allows you to make models for things which are consistent. with potential explanatory power. It's very different, but it sounds similar. Do I miss college? Yes and no. I don't miss doing the work for college. I miss doing the work in the field that I enjoy. um, it's no joke, or yeah, it's no secret that I've mentioned that I did not get into grad school before, and I do kind of feel bad about not getting into grad school to study what I wanted to study. But other than that, like, I don't really miss it. Grad school itself seems like hell. I do not miss that. I have helped to author papers in other fields, and if I had to do that on my own, I think I would hate myself. So maybe I dodged a bullet there. You think science is about asking questions? I think science is more about inventing questions, right? And then answering them in the sort of make-believe sense that you think you've answered them. You've answered them in a consistent way that other people have answered other questions. Whether or not you've answered the question is up for debate. That's what I mean by I look at science very differently these days than I used to. You miss college a lot, Lila? I'm sorry you miss college. I can understand why. College was very free for me in some senses, and I have to say, some of my experiences in college were a lot better. It was the pre-Hyde Feral era, so yeah, I do miss that part of college, back when I was still human. So I can understand that, yeah. Graduate school is essentially master's programs, postmasterate, or postdoctorates, doctorates, that kind of thing. Anything after a bachelor's degree is yeah, it's a graduate program. I don't know how they call that in other places, probably just master's programs or doctorates, but here in the USA, it's a little bit more than just that. But if you want to think about it that way, that is perfectly a-okay. Yeah. There are, like, postdoctorate degrees, and then there are technical degrees that you could get in a graduate program as well. And you could also, like, double major in things. It's a headache. So I don't know. If you want to call it one thing or another, that's fine. Just, for the most part, it's masters and doctors. Yeah. Wow, you don't even call it a separate institution. Okay. Okay, fair enough. But let me just make this one point then. Here in the USA, a lot of the bigger universities do have graduate programs, but some of the smaller ones, they stop at bachelor's degrees. And I'm not saying that my program was small. It offered graduate programs for some things. But not every college actually does offer master's and doctorate, or yeah, doctor's degrees. Yeah, you can't get a PhD everywhere here in the USA. What? Wow, it's not like that there? That's very strange.
Presented by
Wow. Wow, no. That's not how it is here. Here it's very different. You cannot get a master's degree or a doctorate degree without proper accreditation. So that's a lot harder, right? And usually you have to pay more for professors to give that kind of experience. That is kind of a culture shock. I would not have expected that, but I don't know what else I would have expected either. It's always interesting to hear about foreign institutions of education. It's just as weird for me to hear it about yours, Lila. You can get a PhD or a master's program from pretty much every college. That's unheard of to me. there are a lot of small, like, community... Well, okay. I can see it, because not everywhere has college for profit, right? Yeah, obviously, you would need the bachelor's program and credits. You still need that here too. But our educations are often for profit. So a lot of our smaller universities, even if they're not really for profit, they are making money somehow. So yeah, it's a little bit different. And you gotta pay for... I think you do have to pay for accreditation, but I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure. Yeah, public universities? Okay. Public universities, most of them here, tend to be larger, right? Like, public universities tend to be things like state universities, and they are subsidized by the state the university is in. So, like Kentucky State University would be subsidized by the state of Kentucky, and it would allow citizens of Kentucky special privileges because they are citizens of the state of Kentucky. And they tend to have master's programs and doctorates and things like that because they tend to have more alumni and they tend to have better funding, both because the state is subsidizing the education and because they have larger alumni pools with a more dedicated base. Private colleges are very different, and I will not get into that out of fear of saying too much. Anyway, I had a lot of fun, but I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I do want to say thank you all for coming. It was a great joy to see so many faces in the chat tonight. Was not expecting that. I know it's been a while since I've tweeted anything out, but yeah, I haven't been feeling it as of late. But tonight felt okay, and it was very nice to talk with all of you. So, I love you all, but I will be going now. Thanks for stopping by. Love you. See you. Hyde out.